What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Steven Motivate. I am live. We're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about, how you go live. Ecamm. I'm seeing here. I'm using Ecamm for the first time in a while, and we're hoping to do this a lot more. Let me fix the mic here. It's real. As you can see, this is my first time in a while. So hopefully you can hear me okay. And I'm going to check to see if you can see me okay. But yeah, I'm doing this for the first time in a long time. And we want to talk about, the mindset necessary to have multiple streams of income, to side hustles, to be trying to get to a level of success where, money is no longer an issue and you're able to have your freedom and your time. And so that's what we want to talk about today. Let me see if I can see myself live. Can I see myself live? Let's see. Live. I don't know if I can see myself live or not. I need somebody to tell me if I'm live or not. I'm going to go on YouTube really quick from my phone and see if I can search for myself, Steven Motivate here. Because I'm literally doing this for the first time. So I literally have no idea what I'm doing. But at the same time, this is what I want to teach you. It's like you've got to be able to do things that are uncomfortable and tricks in order to get you to where you're trying to go in terms of your business. Yeah, I don't see myself, but maybe I'll see it after. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Well, I have no idea if this is actually recording or not, so that'll give me a little freedom to just be myself. But again, welcome to the channel. Look, we're talking always about how to keep your job and produce additional income. And when you do that, I'll walk you through my 5-part framework of how to build a firm financial foundation. So you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, money is a big issue and I can't do anything. Money, oh, it costs too much. Oh, da, da, da. Like how you think about money is so important. And hopefully as you dive into some of the videos on this channel, on some of our other channels, you will be able to really renew your mind on the topic of money. Renew your mind as it relates to what money is and what it is to be used for. I like to say this a lot. Money is a tool, not a toy. Money can buy toys, but its primary use is as a tool to get more money. I also like to say what I heard Myron Golden say: money is a seed that should be planted to produce more money. So how you use money and how you think about money is so important. And so we're going live. So I think we're going to do this as much as possible. This is a Saturday. Right now we're live. Worked all week, right? And we got to figure out how we're going to get this side hustle into a rhythm. The YouTube side hustle, all my side hustles, really, they have to have a rhythm. But they don't start in rhythm. It's almost like when you got a band together, if you've ever played any music, first folks are testing. They're hitting the snare drum. They're hitting, the cymbals. They're making sure they like the sound first before they set the rhythm. Typically, there's some testing and there's some, prodding that happens first before you really start to go fully into setting that rhythm. Okay, click here when you're live for stream info. Got it. I am streaming. And there is 0 people watching, according to this little thing. Okay, that's okay. You got to start from somewhere. So, to my point, before you get a rhythm with your side hustle, you've got to start actually making sure that you're testing things out. So, with your side hustle, with your that you're trying to set up, with the book you want to publish, with the event space you want to start, with the kids' birthday party planner you want to be. All those things require prodding at first, requires a little bit of testing. And so that's what we're doing with this side hustle right now. We're testing. We're testing it out to see, hey, how do I do this? How do I go live? I've done this before, but I haven't done it in a very long time. And so I've lost all momentum as it relates to this particular piece of my side hustle of being a YouTube influencer, having a YouTube channel, being an online educator. That whole space, there is a piece of that where going live is important. So follow me, if you will, because I lost my momentum and I lost my rhythm in that space, then I got to get that back. But I'm not going to get it back automatically. It's going to first take some testing and some prodding and see, how this goes. And so probably for the last 30 minutes here, and actually for the past few weeks, I've been in my mind thinking about doing this, thinking about going live again and what that looks like. And so what I want to encourage you with is that whatever you're thinking about doing, you're actually in the right spot, because that's where it starts. It starts in the mind. Thoughts become reality. If you're taking notes, remember this: thoughts become reality. How you think about it consistently over time typically becomes what you see in reality. I'm sitting here in Charlotte, North Carolina, in my podcast studio. And I'm super excited. I have yet to name this studio, and we want other people using this studio. It's not just mine, but, I'm sitting here. But before this was built, it was first a thought, right? Before I went live today, it was first a thought. Before I started getting multiple side hustles and multiple streams of business, it was first a thought. Everything starts in the mind. Everything you want to do, everything you want to be, everything you want to have first starts in the mind. And everything you don't want, and everything you don't want to be, and everything you don't want to have also starts in the mind. And so the mindset that's necessary is one that you are making sure that you are not letting your mind just dwell, think, cultivate things that are not healthy for where you want to go, what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have. Because in reality, your thoughts become reality. In real life, your thoughts become reality. Nothing that you see physically happened until there was a thought mentally. Write that down if you're taking notes. Nothing you see physically actually occurred until there was a thought mentally. So a lot of things in your life that you're seeing that you don't like are tied to a thought that you're having that you may not even realize you're having. Because you can also think things subconsciously, meaning without you knowing that you're thinking about it, you're now conditioned to think this way. Without you knowing that you're thinking lack, poverty, disappointment, being upset. Without you knowing that you're thinking like that, you could actually be thinking like that. And so everything is started, everything is initiated in your mind. And so the podcast, me coming to you live, this was all a thought first. And your thinking is so important, because if I don't think I can do this, it never happens. Now, I haven't done this in a long time, but that little bit of belief that I can do it, I'm doing this by myself. I have none of my helpers with me. I have none of my team with me. I wasn't able to call my brother for advice. I figured this out on my own. I did look for resources. I use YouTube and all this sort of thing. But by and large, I had to actually execute it myself. And something that helped me execute it was my ability to think positively about what I could actually do. And I've got something going wrong here, so let me get that. 1 second. Okay. All right, we're live. We're live. So I was having an issue there with my power source. So I'm looking around. I've got to be everything, right? I've got to correct the set, fix the set, do all that sort of thing. But my point is that I did it myself, but I had to believe that I could do it. And what do you believe about yourself? What are you saying about yourself? What are you saying about your future? What are you saying about your capabilities, your abilities? What are you telling yourself? What is your mental? If someone could look into your mind and see your thoughts, would those be thoughts that you'd be proud for them to see? If someone could look into your mind and see your thoughts, would you be willing to showcase those thoughts, or would you be hiding them? Would you be looking for excuses as to why, oh, no, I wasn't really thinking that, da, 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 da. Or would you be able to show your mind and put it on expose for everyone and be proud of what you're thinking? This is critically important to how you build your side hustles, how you decide you're going to keep your 9 to 5 and build a side hustle on the side. It all starts with your mind. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about yourself? And many times we're not making the right moves, the next move, because the belief in ourselves is waned. It's become very low. And what can make your belief in yourself low? Well, one, the environment you're in. Check your environment. If your environment is low, then your belief set will be low. Number one, check your environment. If your environment is low, your belief set will be low. If your environment is all about wasting money, is all about complaining about bills, is all about saying the price of things are too high, is all about, I can't do that, let me check. If it's all limiting, if it's all low, if the vibrations are low, as they say, low vibrational thoughts, if your thinking is low, it might be because your environment is low. What environment are you in? You've got to get around people who are thinking big, who aren't worried about money, who aren't worried about bills, who are thinking about their dreams, who have belief in themselves, belief in what they can do, who have belief in what they can be and what they can see and what they can imagine. They don't feel like life is over. They feel like they're just beginning, that their next days are their best days. The best is yet to come. All of that is thoughts. All of those things are thoughts. The best is yet to come for me. I'm not afraid of tomorrow. I'm not afraid of what's going to happen with the economy. Good things happen to me. Success flows to me. Abundance flows to me. Good opportunities flow to me. In a good economy or a bad economy, I am able to thrive and excel and make good decisions and make wise choices. These are all thoughts. And so that's high vibrations. That's high vibrational, because the news would have you think that you've got to run, you've got to hide, you got to be scared. And not to say that there aren't things that are scary, not to say there are things that would make you want to hide, but your mindset about the things, it's not about being delusional. If there's a storm outside, you need a rain jacket, or you need shelter, or you need cover. It's just rather than being delusional, it's more so saying, okay, the storm's going to come, but I'm going to be able to withstand the storm, right? I'm going to be able to withstand the storm. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to be able to withstand, right? When the enemy comes in like a flood, my dad would always say this, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord will raise up a standard against him. And I don't even know if I'm quoting it correctly, but in my mind, that says that, hey, there may be a flood coming, but there's going to be something raised up to stop the flood. That comes won't affect me. If the flood comes, I'm going to have an ark. I'm going to have a ship. I'm going to have something to get into. Something is going to carry me through the storm. Doesn't mean the storm's not there. It just means that my high vibrational thoughts, my spiritual thoughts, what I think about myself, I say what God says about me and about my future. And they're good plans for me. And so this is very important, because if we do not think highly about our situations and about ourselves, then there is a chance that is tied to our environment. Okay, your environment is affecting how you think. Your environment is affecting how you believe. Your environment. That's really important. All right, mindset. The other things you should know about your mindset. Your mindset is also affected by your learning or your research or the information you have. So not only is it affected by your environment, because your environment will feed that, but it's also affected by the information you have. So if you're not getting good information, you really can't make good decisions. You really can't have good beliefs if you're not getting information, right? If someone says that all the planes are unsafe, the likelihood that you'll fly is extremely decreased, right? Because the information you received on flights, on planes. So the information you have about a topic determines whether or not you make good or bad decisions. Now, let's say the money you need, the money you so long for, that you want, the dreams that you want, are tied to you getting on a plane and going to a certain place. But if the information you have about planes is so negative, it's so bad, it's so poor, that it's creating thoughts in you, and that is essentially prohibiting you or stopping you from moving forward, then the thoughts you have may not be your own. It may be tied to the information you got. And this is what's interesting about the news. A lot of us have thoughts, but they're not our own. We haven't done enough research ourselves to really understand if the thought you have, if the information you have is information you'd like to accept. Everyone is important now. Everyone has a YouTube channel. Everyone has a microphone, including yours truly. And one reason I have a microphone is because I, for one, have never been the type, and it could be just how I'm built, but I've never been the type to accept something for face value. Oh, you tell me it's purple outside? Okay, maybe. I'm just not going to believe you right away. I've got to do my own research. I've got to gather my own information. Many of you don't have the money you want. And you don't have the money you want because you don't have the mindset you need. And you don't have the mindset you need because you don't have the information that's necessary to develop the correct mindset that would allow you to get the money, to get a good job, to have a side hustle, to have multiple streams of income. What information do you have? And so that's why it's very important for you to gather the right information. You can't watch everything on the news. Because if you watch the news is just for the masses. It's for people who really don't want to do their own research. That's why I'm bringing it to you conveniently. And what they found is that when information is more dramatic, more salacious, more spicy, that more people watch. It grabs the attention. Bad things grab your attention. Bad things grab your attention more than the good. And what we find is that if that news that you're getting, if they want to stay on, if they want to grow and all that sort of thing, and they find out, well, bad news makes us more money than good news, then can't you see that there's a connection, you bad news, to bringing you things that are spicy, the things that would get you riled up, that make you nervous, make you fearful? These are the things that people click on, the masses. So you got to be careful. And I'm not saying all news is bad. I'm just saying the information you get deserves validation. It deserves further research. You can't just accept everything you hear. You are responsible for validating. You are responsible for digging into the facts around what you've heard, around what you've seen, around what you've been told. And when you do that, now, even if you're in a bad environment, which you should get out of, but one reason you should get out of it is because you start doing your own, start realizing, no, that's not true. It is not true that you can't succeed in this economy. It is not true that you shouldn't buy a house because there could be a recession coming. It is not true that you shouldn't put money in the stock market. It is not true that you shouldn't save money in a high yield savings account. It is not true. You've got to start digging into what's not true. So you owe yourself to do more research and gather more information. How many people do we have watching live? Let's get our numbers up. Let's see if anyone has comments. I'm not sure exactly how to check that yet. So I'm very curious if I'm live or not. Very curious. Am I live? I don't know. I guess while you're live, it's hard to tell if you're live. It says I'm live, though. Let me text my wife and see if she can see me live. So that's super important. And we're coming to the last point. Point number 1, you got to check your environment. Point number 2, you got to check your information. And point number 3 is spiritual. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a person thinketh in their heart. You know, most people will tell you that, hey, quit your job. Quit your job and go be an entrepreneur. And my message to you is don't quit your job and be an entrepreneur. You don't have to give up your job in order to be an entrepreneur. In fact, there's so many things you can learn from your job that will make you a better entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is difficult. It's not difficult because I don't think that it's difficult for me. And that's it's a tricky statement meaning that there are difficulties, and it's important that I don't lie to myself around those difficulties, because if I tell myself the truth that, yeah, there's a mountain there, I'm going to properly prepare for the mountain. Does that make sense? I'm going to get the backpack. I'm going to get the water because I'm going up a mountain. And entrepreneurship can be a mountain, but it's a mountain you can climb if you believe it. So I know there's a mountain. I know entrepreneurship is difficult. I know it's hard, but it's not so hard that I can't do it. That's what I mean when I say it's not hard for me. Because at the substratum, at the substratum, believe that I can do entrepreneurship. At my fundamental essence, fundamentally, right? At my base, my core belief, my mindset that shapes my life is that I can do it. Your thoughts create your reality. Oh, I can't possibly go back into an office. Well, if you got to go back into an office, you just got to go back. And you got to still figure out a way to do entrepreneurship. You got to still figure out a way to keep it going. You got to still figure out a way to fight through. But you figure out that way, one, by thinking, believing that you can figure it out. If you don't believe you can, you never will. If you don't believe you can, belief is very important. Belief is a prerequisite to actually completing a thing. I didn't believe I could do it. 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to do it. Unless there's actually a belief in there that you actually can. Bet I just had colleagues check to see if I am live on YouTube, and I am live on YouTube. So this is actually happening right now. I had no idea whether or not if I did this successfully. I had a good idea that maybe I did, but you just want to verify. And so as you think, as a man thinketh in his heart, that's who you are. It's based on your thinking. So now you've got to guard what you think. Because if you start to think it, then it becomes who you are. That's Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So now that I'm an entrepreneur and I have a job and I've got side hustles, now my thinking is starting to get really powerful. Y'all got to pray for me. I'm starting to really believe that what I say, I will see. What I say will happen. What I think will come to pass. And when you get to that point, now you're cooking with hot grease. Now you're cooking. Now nothing shall be impossible to those that believe. Your thoughts will shape your reality. So what are you thinking? What are you believing? What are you saying about yourself? What are you thinking about yourself? Once you start to cultivate an environment, the right information, that all leads to your thoughts. Your mind is a garden of thoughts. How you water the right ones, pluck out the bad ones. Pluck out the bad thoughts. Pluck out the negative thoughts. Pluck out the unproductive thoughts. Thoughts of productivity, water them. Thoughts of success, water them. Thoughts of abundance, water them. Thoughts of multiple streams of income, water them. Information that you can build upon that will allow you to achieve your hopes and dreams, water that. Everything else, choke it out, pull it up. It's weeds, it's distractions, it's not real. One of the hardest things about side hustles, and I'll end with this, is that when you lose momentum, right? Actually, in science, I think it's called kinetic energy. And let me look it up. But kinetic energy basically says that things in motion tend to stay in motion. Let me look it up to make sure I'm saying this right. Kinetic energy essentially is the belief that things in motion tend to stay in motion. Let's see here. A moving car has kinetic energy, which increases as speed increases, right? A thrown baseball carries kinetic energy. Depends on how fast it is thrown, right? Wind turbines convert the kinetic energy of the wind into electrical energy. This is all kinetic energy, right? Things in motion. And so you hear people say, "Oh, you got motion." Okay, let me get the correct. So this is actually first law of motion, also known as the law of inertia. Okay, this is the correct thing to say. So things in motion tend to stay in motion. Right? And we just talked about this. Thoughts become things. Thoughts become reality. Thoughts become things, right? If thoughts become things and things in motion, thoughts in motion tend to stay in motion. Let's go through some examples. A rolling ball will keep rolling unless friction or an obstacle stops it. A passenger in a car keeps moving forward when the brakes are suddenly applied. Right? And then planets orbit around the sun due to inertia and gravity working together. And so what is momentum? Momentum is the quantity of motion an object has. It depends on both the mass and velocity of an object and is given in different ways. So more mass or speed equals more momentum. A heavy truck moving at the same speed as a small car has more momentum. A fast-moving baseball has more momentum than a slow-moving one. Got it? A football player running at full speed is harder to stop because of high momentum. A train takes longer to stop because of its large mass and momentum. And so momentum isn't just physical, right? And this is what we're learning. But it applies to life and success as well. Once you start getting progress, once you start getting your mind going in the right direction and thoughts starting to become things, right? It makes it easier to keep going. Once you get progress, it's easier to keep going. Once I got this live started, it was easy to keep going at that point because I started to get some motion. I started to get momentum, right? And so the hardest thing about having a 9-to-5 job and a side hustle is the risk that you lose momentum because things in motion tend to stay in motion unless they come up against some type of object or obstacle, unless you break the schedule, so when you've got a 9-to-5 job that is your primary source of income, it requires that you put your side hustle to the side at times. And you've got to go over here and focus on your 9-to-5. And so then when you go back up and pick up the side hustle, you've lost momentum at that point, and you've got to try to get that momentum back going. And that's the most difficult thing, is just to keep your momentum. But as we said before, I'm in an environment, I've got information, and I have thoughts that tell me that I can get my momentum back going. I can get my side hustle back humming, back moving, back shaking, right? I can build that motion back. And once it's in motion, it tends to stay in motion. It takes a lot of work to stop something. It takes a lot of work to stop a train that's in motion. And so the thing you've got to understand, one, that you can do it. You got to have the mindset. But your mindset needs to be geared towards building momentum until you get to the point where you've got so much motion that it's so hard, it's too difficult to stop, that it can't stop. Even if you've got to get pulled away, it won't stop because your momentum has been built. And so my encouragement to you today is to get in the right environments, because your thoughts depend on it. Get the right information. Don't just take what the news tells you, what you see. Do your own research. The news will have you killing people that are still alive. It'll have you believing that you need a rain jacket when you actually need swim trunks. You've got to do your own information. Yeah, it's good to get some other data points, but at the end of the day, you've got to do your own research. And number 3, your thoughts become reality. Become reality. As a man thinketh, Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. When you think about it deep enough, whether consciously or subconsciously, it becomes who you are. Thoughts become things. And lastly, when you get those things in motion and you get momentum, you do your best to try to keep that momentum. And if that momentum stops, believe enough in yourself that you can get that momentum back going until one day it gets too big to stop. If you do that, you'll be able to have your job and your side hustle and create multiple streams of income and get to the success that you're looking for. Look, I hope that helps you as much as it helped me. Before you get out of here, if it did, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the channel. We'll be going live a lot more, and we're going to be giving you what you need so you can build a firm financial foundation. It's your boy, Stephen Motivate. Until next time, stay motivated. Peace.